we do the countdown, and there are sirens at the end. It's really annoying. So what we have to do is basically one more song here, and then we're going to be on our way to getting the show going. I was going to do this the other day, but I ran out of time or forgot or something. Rock and roll legend Eddie Van Halen died of cancer, 65 years old the other day. And I thought I'd bring the Facebook listeners in on this as well, because I want to play a Van Halen song. And I always like to commemorate rock. David Lee Roth, why is the live video interrupted? Why has the live video been interrupted? This I need to know. Okay, I guess we're good to go now. So there was David Lee Roth, and then Sammy Hagar, and then back to David Lee Roth. All the while, though, the Van Halen brothers have been part of it, Eddie and Alex. Eddie Van Halen has passed away. So while we share the video and get it up on the Legacy 1160 Facebook page, this is both a great Van Halen song and a classic oldie. So even though it doesn't fit the format, it does fit the format. Great guitar there by Eddie. Whoa. Van Halen. Here's Old Pretty Woman.
Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I like to meet. Pretty woman, I don't believe you, it must be true. No one can look as good as you. Pretty woman, won't you pardon me? Pretty woman, I couldn't help but see. Pretty woman, oh, you look lovely as you can be. Are you lonely just like me? Pretty woman, stop a while. Pretty woman, talk a while. Pretty woman, give your smile to me. Pretty woman, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty woman, look my way. Pretty woman, say you'll stay with me. 'Cause I need you tonight. Pretty woman, don't walk on by. Pretty woman, don't make me cry. Pretty woman, don't walk away. Okay, yeah, that's the way it must be. Okay, I guess I'll go on home. It's late. There'll be tomorrow night. What do I see? She's walking back to me.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth. The John James Show is on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
All right. Gotta watch my levels here this morning. This is something new we're doing. It's the level watch. Good Lord. It's nobody's fault, really. I'm not going to start crabbing about the radio station. I love the radio station. We just have these. There's so many different elements to it, you know, and that's the problem. We've got too much audio going to the live audio stream on the internet. We didn't have enough audio going into the transmitter, and then we've got just enough audio going onto the live video stream because we can control that right here to our right. The others aren't quite as controllable. They're controllable, but short of thumping the equipment, which usually works, it usually fixes a lot of problems. Anybody in radio who may or may not, anybody in radio who may be listening right now knows that oftentimes if equipment at a radio station malfunctions, you take your fist and you thump it, and that usually will solve a lot of problems. Or if it's a ground level piece of equipment, you kick it. But I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to take anything for granted. Because, like I said, we have so many different elements going here. We have 2 video streams. We have the audio stream. We have the transmitter stream. We have the Facebook stream, all separate. So we want to keep everything in sync and operating efficiently, if you will. So here we are. We've got a whole lot of stuff to get to. Vice presidential debate. Oh, boy. Do we have a lot of stuff on that? I had no idea how much stuff there would be to get to on the vice presidential debate until I got up this morning and worked for 2.5 hours, putting stuff together. I watched some of the debate last night on my phone. So it wasn't a big screen. I missed the fly on Mike Pence's head until I saw it on a bigger screen this morning. And I thought, my word, that is distracting. And that was brought up by several news outlets last night after the debate was over. We'll get to some of the news outlet reaction. It's kind of interesting, very telling, and not surprising, I might say. First, though, let's take a look at this day in history and see what went on. It's always good to relive a little history, and we do just that every morning to begin the show. Here's the Associated Press. It's October the 8th.
October 8th, 1871. Deadly fires scorched the upper Midwest. The Great Chicago Fire killed some 300 people, leaving 90,000 homeless in the Windy City. Even deadlier, the Peshtigo Fire in northeastern Wisconsin claimed some 1,200 to 1,500 lives. Fires also broke out in 3 Michigan communities, Holland, Manistee, and Port Huron. 1982. Poland's government, then under martial law, bans all labor organizations, including the Solidarity Trade Union. But Solidarity survives the crackdown, playing a key part in the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. 1970. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, author and dissident in what's then the Soviet Union, wins the Nobel Prize for Literature. His work chronicles life under the repression and labor camps of Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. And 1956, Don Larson of the New York Yankees pitches the only perfect game as well as a no-hitter in a World Series to date. That gives the Yankees a 2-0 shutout over the Brooklyn Dodgers in Game 5. Today in history, October 8th, Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Okay, here we go. We're back and we're ready to roll. I'm John James. This is your pep rally for freedom. And we need to get to some stuff here before we take a break. I want to talk about the Susan Gideon and Sarah Gideon. Did I say Susan? Did I really say Susan Gideon, or am I imagining I said Susan Gideon? Susan Collins, Sarah Gideon race. I've got to tell you, you know, if you're a conservative, what the deal is. I know a lot of people would like to say, well, she's not going to vote for for Amy Coney Barrett's nomination. I've heard this. And I understand that. I get that. No, we should vote for a third-party candidate. Whoa, 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 whoa. No. Don't ever think that's a good idea. Do not vote for Cliff. What the heck's his name? The guy there. I don't even remember their names. There are two other people running for the seat. Don't vote for either of them. No, unless you're deciding between voting for Sarah Gideon and one of them, then go ahead. Go ahead. Vote for them all you want. That's fine. But if you are a Susan Collins type voter thinking of voting for one of them, no. I think, personally, I've been thinking about this. I think Susan Collins is playing this perfectly. And I'll tell you what. Now, that the latest poll from BDN has Sarah Gideon ahead by 1 point. What were we, 6, 7, 8 points? Not too long ago. Here's why I think Susan Collins is playing this whole thing perfectly. Now, you've got to remember, she was a pivotal vote in Brett Kavanaugh. Pivotal. And what did she do? She voted for Kavanaugh. Clearly, he is a Supreme Court justice. She thought about it. She really took her time. I really believe I have a lot of respect for Susan Collins. I really do, despite the fact she does things that make me shake my head sometime, wondering, why is she doing this? Why is she on this side of things? But to her credit, she really gives things serious thought. And despite all the pressure from the left during the Kavanaugh debacle, which is what it was, despite it all, she thought about it. I'm sure she gave both sides a great deal of thought and came out on what I believe and everybody else on our side believes was the right decision. Now, this time, here's the caveat. Here is the key difference between then and now. Is Susan Collins necessarily against an Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court? I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want it to go that far right. Maybe that's a fact. However, I will tell you this, whether she is or isn't, her vote this time is not pivotal. If we get the hearings, if we get the vote, we've got enough without Susan Collins to put Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court. So all this is doing is giving Susan Collins more credibility, because she is seemingly, and maybe she really is, or maybe this is smart politicking, she is giving the left a reason to vote for her, because she is methodical and she does think about things before she makes announcements. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of thought before she made this announcement, but we're close to the election. So the earlier she said she wasn't going to vote for even if the candidate gets through to the vote, she's not going to vote for Amy Coney Barrett. At least that's the latest I heard. But we don't need her vote to get Amy Coney Barrett on the court. So this makes her look very objective, very moderate, and this is what we want. This is what we want, because all things being even, people are going to vote for, to coin an old phrase, the devil they know. Sarah Gideon's a complete unknown, and she's completely inexperienced. And by the way, she's not even from Maine. She talks the talk like she's a native Mainer, just like Republican Eric Brakey did, 10th generation Mainer. He spent most of his time out of state. I forget what state. Was it Ohio? I think it was Ohio. Eric Brakey's not a Mainer. Neither is Sarah Gideon. So don't try to sound like one. Susan Collins is. Susan Collins is a moderate. And Susan Collins has now, by virtue of the fact she said she will not vote for Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court, she has given the left a reason to say, well, okay, so let's, we know Susan Collins. We know she thinks about things and makes decisions based on her own beliefs. Let's give her another chance. That's what the hope is. And you're going to see groups coming out now, including probably the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, which is a big supporter of Susan Collins. You're going to see people coming out and really pushing this 1 point margin and getting on board with Susan Collins' campaign. I think you're going to see a big push for this in the next couple of weeks. We've got 9:35 right now. Got to take a break. We'll be right back. 621-9759. You can text 207-441-6969 or hit us up on Facebook, and we'll answer your questions, read your comments, whatever you'd like to do.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebecElectric.com.
This is Bill Green. Growing up in Maine, I've always been proud of our senators on both sides of the aisle. And I'm especially proud to know Susan Collins. In times of crisis, she's displayed courage and integrity, whether it was reforming our intelligence community after 9/11 or fighting the pandemic today. Susan is a problem solver. She's at the center of nearly every common sense solution that makes our government work better. And while Susan hasn't changed, politics sadly has. This year, Mainers have suffered through the most expensive negative campaign in our history, with $40 million being spent by out-of-state groups trying to buy our vote. We know Susan, and we know what they're saying just isn't true. So don't let out-of-state bullies with big checkbooks buy Maine's Senate seat. This is Bill Green. I trust Susan Collins because she is from, of, and for the people of Maine, always.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by colleagues for Senate.
Our Medicare supplement and drug coverage is so expensive, we're barely keeping up with our bills.
My husband and I were in the same situation. So I got some help from the Senior Planning Center. They were able to show us some high-quality Medicare Advantage plans that saved us a lot of money.
The Senior Planning Center, tell me more.
They have helpful agents all over the state. Real Mainers helping Mainers. Give them a call at 778-6565. The Senior Planning Center. They were there to help when it mattered most. I'm glad I called them. You'll be glad too.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
Take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
I need a new gun. Gun Shop. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Crystal, for being part of the show. We've got a 9:39 right now, right here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And do you think we should get right to the debate last night? Should we get right to that? I think we should. Let me just get this thing going here. I haven't even put my show prep in today. We started talking about that the Susan Collins, Sarah Gideon thing. And as I say, and I want to read there are some comments on Facebook I want to read that are very good, too. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I should have done this during the break, but I didn't. I was too busy showing my shirt off to viewers on the stream. Yes, the shirt, my Trump shirt. It's hell yeah, I voted for Trump in last time, whatever it was. I don't even know what it says. Hell yeah, I voted for Trump. I'll vote for him again in Trump 2020. That's what it says. All right. Wait a minute here. I've got to get this. Just hold your horses, will you? Hold your horses over there. Today's the 8th, right? Okay, we're good. We're good to go. Give me 2 seconds here. It's all I need. And you're very patient. Thank you for being patient with me. This is like buddies talking. This is what we do, right? You know, it's like, hold on a second. Hold on, I dropped a piece of food on the ground. I got to pick it up. Have you ever done that at a restaurant? My wife was mortified. We were at 99, and we were having some steak tips. I was having steak tips, and they're very good. They're very good. I like 99 a lot. So we were having steak tips, and I was having steak tips, and I went to put one in my mouth, and it fell off my fork, and it bounced off the table. It's like the meatball, you know, the meatball rolled off the table and it bounced off the table and onto the floor. And then what I did is what mortified my wife. I picked it up off the floor. I rubbed it down. I rubbed any dirt off it and I popped it in my mouth, and she was mortified. And I said, it's a frickin' steak tip. It's not like it was a French fry. I would never do that with a French fry. Well, maybe if it was the last fry, I might. But it was a steak tip. I'm not going to waste a steak tip just because it fell on the... I would even do it during COVID-19. I'm with Trump. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. You know what and this is going to sound so flippant when it comes to life, but I know something is going to kill us. And when you do something, you always say, what are the chances, right? Like when I used to set up a ramp in my yard at home, and my brother and I used to jump our bicycles. And my father said, you could get killed doing that. Because it was back in the days of Evel Knievel. Everybody was jumping their bicycles. And so we were jumping ours. We'd get a plank out of the cellar and we'd put it on 1 or 2 cement blocks. And it was great. We'd go flying through the air. My father said, you're going to break your neck. I said, what are the chances? And we never did. We never broke our necks. So you eat a piece of food off the ground. You're going to get COVID. You're going to get something. You're going to get sick. It's disgusting. What are the chances? I'll take my chances. Oh, you're going to die. You got something. You're going to die from it. Well, you know, the steak tip, I saved the steak tip. The steak tip was good. Now I'm going to die. I'm going to die earlier than maybe I would have, but who knows? Life is one of those things. We don't know. We don't know when the end will be. And that sounds very flippant. I realize that. But it's just the damn truth. It's just the truth. You can't live your life in fear. You don't want to throw caution to the wind either. That's why we do social distance. I'm for social distancing. That's why we do wear masks. That's why. But I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. Now, where was he going with all this, you're asking? I can't remember. I truly don't remember where I was going with this. I think it had something to do with, I don't know. We're eating steak tips. Somebody help me out here. Let's go to Facebook and see what people are posting. I've got some good comments coming in. I was reading them during the break. That's another thing I was doing during the break. Mark said something that really struck a chord with me, if I can find it here. Good morning, everybody, by the way, who I'm seeing here. It's like Magic Mary. It's like romper room time because I can call out people by name. Unlike the radio, I don't know who's listening, but that's fine. You can always text in or call in, but we've got Mark, Maxwell, we've got Ann and Angela, and we've got Mark and Michelle And that's just a few of the people who have commented. So, Mark says, one vote. Okay, now we're talking about ranked choice voting, RCV. This is good. This struck a chord with me because it's true. I've been saying this. And I've yet to post the instructions on how to do it. It's very simple. One and done. You want to get rid of ranked choice voting? Just don't use it. Now, there are people out there who will not vote. I've talked to a couple of them, older people, who will not vote because or they will vote. Maybe they will vote absentee. I don't know. But they're very confused. They're very confused by what to do with ranked choice voting. And that's keeping them from voting. You talk about voter suppression. Is there any greater voter suppression than RCV? Really? I mean, older people don't want to vote because they're unsure. They feel stupid. They've been voting their whole life. They've been American their whole life. And now all of a sudden, the left changes things because it helps them, because it helps the Democrats, the liberals, stay in control, get control, and keep it. So they change it just like they want to get rid of the Electoral College, change it so they can win every time. So voter suppression, here it is. It came to Maine first. It may come to Massachusetts next. We got it. How about that? Isn't it great? And so now people don't want to vote because they don't want to feel stupid at the polls, because they know how to vote. They've been voting their whole life, and now you throw this at them. And this isn't even constitutional. This isn't even American. This is unpatriotic. It's not more fair. It's a slap in the face of our democratic republic. One person, one vote, period. Shut up, leave town, get out of here, go to a state that has RCV if you want it, or a country that doesn't allow you to vote, or that limits voting just to one candidate, one party rule, one candidate rule. If you want that kind of a relationship with voting, then go someplace where they have it. Leave us alone. Too late, though. We have it here now. And it's voter suppression at its very best. So here's what you do. And this is, it almost seems too simple. Here's what you do. You go into the voting booth, you see all this nonsense, this garbage on the ballot that confuses the hell out of anybody. Older people have been voting their whole life, don't know what to do, and so they're not going to vote, or they're going to vote absentee and then not know what to do when the ballot gets to their house. So then they're going to ask for help, and guess what? Somebody's going to come help them and help them check the candidate they want. Well, there you go. Perfect system, isn't it? Here's the deal. Vote for one person. That's it. That's how you get rid of ranked choice voting. You don't use it. You don't use it. Just say, nope, not going to do it. I'm voting for Trump. I'm voting for Collins. I'm voting for Crafts. I'm voting for Jay Allen. Wherever you are, whatever you're voting for. And boom. That's how you do it. That's how you get rid of ranked choice voting. One and done. Remember that. And tell your friends that. Okay, Kamala was a joke and didn't answer crap. I agree with you on that. She didn't. It's more important, don't you think? And people will say, well, neither did Mike Pence. Mike Pence has been in the office for 4 years. We know pretty much what Pence and Trump are all about. We know how they operate. We know Pence, compared to Trump, is a rather laid-back cat. And very polite, very religious, which the left hates. They make fun of him for his religion. Yes, they do. They don't like it. What we need to know more about, who we need to know more about, is Kamala Harris. We need to know more about her. She's a complete unknown. She is a complete unknown. The things we know about her aren't savory at all. We'll get to some of that as we unfold and look at the debate from last night. Ann says 99 does have some of the best tips. They are worth picking up off the floor, aren't they, Ann? I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you about it. She would have done it. Good. We are savages. Faith over fear, Chip says. Amen. Angela, doesn't Trump know you are on and he shouldn't interrupt us with live feeds from him right now? The choice can be tough. Thank you, Angela. We need to hear both. I had a conversation with Angela yesterday about the media and how deplorable and hateful and one-sided the media is. And, it reared its ugly head again last night after the presidential debate. Okay. Bruce Poliquin should be in office. Mark says it right. Bruce Poliquin should be in office. He won the election. Bruce Poliquin won the election by a plurality vote. That's how, see, this is how our system of government was set up. And Maine, the left doesn't care. The left does not care about how America was set up, and they don't care that it's been working just fine for almost 250 years. They don't care about that. If it doesn't suit their needs, they will change it. And they have changed it. A plurality of votes in the states, the Electoral College for the entire nation, so bigger urban areas, bigger population centers don't get to say who is going to be our next leader. Trust me on this, you know why they're doing it. You know why Pocahontas said the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my election, she couldn't even win her home state. She was just, I guess, delusions of grandeur, wishful thinking, hopeful, positive attitude. I don't know. I'm not going to knock her for that. But she said, the first thing I'll do is make sure that when I win this election, it'll be the last election that's chosen by the Electoral College. Translation, this will be the last election Republicans ever win. Maybe that's why she lost. Maybe that's why Massachusetts didn't even want anything to do with it. Or maybe it was because she is a phony. Just like Kamala Harris is a phony on full display for everyone to see last night. I can't even look at her without thinking, what is she going to say that is pandering to somebody? What is she going to say? What is she going to avoid answering? And she didn't let me down last night. So let's get to the vice presidential debate. Well, you know what? We're going to have to get to it next hour, I think. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes and wrap up the hour and let you know what we've got coming up. It's good stuff. It is stuff, especially if you missed the debate last night. You're going to want to hear the parts and the commentary that'll go along with it coming up. Be right back. I'm John James.
1160 WSKW.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills. We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by Searway for Senate, Alan Rowe, Treasurer. I want to tell you about all of the incredible items you can find at Town Line Antiques, but there's no substitute for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now's the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's. To Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOOTY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
The Alphond Youth and Community Center invites you to test your cornhole skills in their unified tournament Friday, October 9th, beginning at 5 p.m. It's all going down under the lights at Wrigley Field in Waterville with big fun and big money on the line, including $100 for the third place finisher, $250 for second, and $500 for the championship team, plus a special prize for the best team uniform. All proceeds from the unified tournament benefit the AYCC's Unified Champion Club. For more information, visit clubaycc.org.
How do you think things in Washington are going these days? No, it's not a trick question. What do you really think? As Washington has failed, Speaker of the House Sarah Gideon has helped bring Democrats and Republicans together to protect Maine people. When Washington threatened to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Sarah Gideon successfully fought to make sure 230,000 Mainers with pre-existing conditions would not lose their coverage. When Washington failed to control skyrocketing prescription drug costs, in Maine, Sarah Gideon cracked down on companies who jacked up prices. And when Washington passed trillion-dollar tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on middle-class families, Sarah Gideon wrote the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in years, working together to get things done for Mainers. That's what Sarah Gideon's always done, and that's what she'll do in the Senate.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
In 2013, we opened the Portland Hunt and Alpine Club.
We're a small bar and restaurant. We have a dozen employees.
When the pandemic forced us to close, we went from being open 7 days a week to literally one day making nothing and dealing with months of having zero revenue for our business at all. We needed a PPP small business loan to keep our employees and just to keep our business.
We feel the responsibility of a dozen employees' livelihoods, their food, their shelter, their families. But Susan Collins wrote a loophole to let corporate chains take the small business loan, and Mitch McConnell included it in the law.
Big corporate chains scarfed up the money before most small businesses like ours had a chance. We feel totally abandoned by her.
They were supposed to be looking out for us.
Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell were just looking out for their big corporate donors and not Mainers.
Change Now is responsible for the content of this ad, paid for by Change Now. Make changenow.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Andrew Dimbert. As of now, it appears they won't be in the same room. The next debate, a week from today, between President Trump and Joe Biden, will not be face-to-face.
The Commission on Presidential Debates said the October 15th presidential debate will be virtual. The moderator and the town hall participants asking the questions will be together in Miami, but the candidates will participate from separate remote locations. The commission said the change is meant to protect the health and safety of all involved as President Trump recovers from coronavirus.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. President Trump telling Fox Business this morning that he doesn't want to debate that way. His campaign saying he'll skip the debate and do a rally instead. At last night's vice presidential debate, Kamala Harris and Mike Pence talked about the administration's hand of the pandemic, the Supreme Court, the Affordable Care Act, climate change, and the economy. Speaking of which, the Labor Department just said another 840,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. This is ABC News. Police in the Wisconsin town of Wauwatosa using tear gas on protesters overnight. The protesters took to the streets after the Milwaukee County District Attorney decided there would be no charges for a police officer who shot and killed a black teen in February. An independent investigation found that 17-year-old Alvin Cole did not fire shots at police officers. The Nobel Prize in Literature this morning awarded to an American poet. ABC's Tom Rivers has the story from the Foreign Desk.
The prize given for, as the Nobel Committee says, Louise Gluck's unmistakable poetic voice. Born in New York, the 77-year-old is a professor of English at Yale. She made her debut in 1968 with Firstborn and was soon acclaimed as one of the most prominent poets in American contemporary literature. The Nobel Academy notes her poetry is characterized by striving for clarity, often focusing on childhood and family life.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially. Once dry, Microban 24 is effective for 24 hours on bacteria when used as directed. Microban 24 sanitizing spray, bathroom, and multi-surface cleaner.
Pro Extra is the Home Depot's free loyalty program built for pros. Members earn perks just for shopping, like new Pro Extra dollars or tool rental perks. Get exclusive benefits every day that save time and money. And here's an extra, $20 off your next in-store purchase of $200 or more, just for signing up. Want to save? Join Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Visit the Pro Desk in-store at homedepot.com/proextra for details.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
All right, we didn't want to hear that. We do. It's a nice song. That is a little bit of I Don't Care by the Buckinghams. I sure hope you enjoyed that. But we have a show we need to get to, and I was just a little tardy getting here. Could we have a little Uncle Ted, please?
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris only represents terrorists and arsonists and people who murder retired cops in St. Louis.
Yes.
I know that the Democrats have turned into the Marxist Party. I know they hate America. They hate the Constitution.
Yes.
And if the Democrats get in charge, we will be a suburb of Venezuela. And I hope everybody out there knows that we, the people, have an absolute moral obligation to vote God, family, country, freedom, Constitution. And if you don't vote those basic principles, the communists and the Marxists would like to thank you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Okay, hold on. I'm here. I just have to text the boss. There we go. Okay. Gracie sent. Perfect. Okay. Here we go. 10:05 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And to the debate we go. Just got to get my voluminous prep back up here. I bet we've got some levity, too. I bet we've got some good levity. We'll play during this recap of last night's debate. Because there's nothing like a little humor. We promote that a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth. Well, you get truth a lot. Do we have anything? No. Okay, we've got some Halloween stuff. Okay, the vice presidential debate. What? No, that was last night. Okay, no, we're not going to see if people are going to watch the vice presidential debate. They did or they didn't at this point. We're going to recap it, though, right now. And we're going to start by saying it was in Salt Lake City, Utah, by the way, just to give you a geographic point of reference. Not that that matters much. Prior to the debate, Trump supporter Robbie Starbuck tweeted, "Don't expect much fairness from the moderator of tonight's debate." The moderator was Susan Page. Now, for those who may not know, Robbie Starbuck tweeted, she literally just wrote Nancy Pelosi's biography. Nancy's Madam Speaker. You can't make it up. And the presidential debate, Chris Wallace, who is not a Trump supporter, I mean, for all people say about Fox News, you've got people like Chris Wallace and Brett Barron. You've got a bunch of people on there who are moderate and who are fair, who are journalists. You know, I give Chris Wallace credit. He will cover both sides equally, although at the debate, he seemed to be a little bit more in Joe Biden's corner, maybe because he likes Joe Biden and wants him to win, maybe because he felt sorry for Joe Biden and wanted to throw him a bone. I don't know. I'm not going to relitigate that. But was there a winner last night? Did Kamala Harris say anything that would make people think, geez, you know, I can't imagine her as president. Or I can't imagine her as president. Because we all know that's what she's looking to do. She's looking to become the president. Vice president is only a stepping stone. And being a heartbeat away from the presidency, and knowing the cognitive disability, and he can't help it. I am not making fun of that. But knowing that Joe Biden has some serious cognitive disabilities, can you picture him making a State of the Union address, speaking for an hour? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine this? The only good thing for me about that would be the sound bites I would get. I mean, that would be show prep done in one speech. So let's visit last night's debate. And if you were watching, you may have been distracted by the fly on Mike Pence's snow white hair. It was when I saw it on the big screen this morning. I told you last night I watched it on my phone, laying in bed, so I fell asleep. But if you were watching and were distracted by the fly, don't worry, you don't have any such distraction here on the radio. Now, Mike Pence made some good points, and he used his time to attack the long, lackluster career of Joe Biden. Now, here's one of the things he said about the left's push to make us believe there is systemic racism and their blocking of police reform. Yeah, that's right. Police reform, if you've forgotten or didn't know, police reform was actually a thing It was actually a thing spearheaded and worked on tirelessly by Black Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. And the left, including Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, shot it down. So, here is a little bit from that part of the debate. Oh, okay, we're frozen here. Lovely. Okay, so we've got to do a restart on the computer before I can get my sound. I don't know why this hasn't happened for a while. I believe the DNC gremlins are inside some of this stuff, because when we get to substantive stuff that makes them look like the hypocrites they are, the computer freezes. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here. I will give you a song. We'll give you a song. You won't get it on Facebook because I've got to reboot the computer, but stay with us and we'll be right back. Can we have a song, or is that frozen too? Okay, we've got a song here. All right, so go ahead, just listen to the music until we get back. Doobie Brothers, Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Don't you feel it growing day by day? People getting ready for the move. Some are happy, some are sad. Oh, but gotta let the music play. What the people need is a way to make them smile. It ain't so hard to do if you know how. Gotta get a message, get it on through. Oh, now mama, got you happy wife. Oh, listen to the music. Oh, listen to the music. Oh, listen to the music. All the time. Everything I say, meet me in the country for a day. We'll be happy and we'll dance. Oh, we're gonna dance the blues away. If I'm feeling good to you and you're feeling good to me, there ain't nothing we can do or say. Feeling good. Surrounding castles and skies, and the crowd is growing bigger. Listening for the happy sound. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. All the time.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hello. We're about, I don't think we ever went down on Facebook. The rest of the radio station went down. And I don't even know if it's back up. So I've got to get some love from all the platforms here. I think Facebook and YouTube and Legacy1160.com, I think those all stayed up. Yeah, I just got a text here. 1160 is down. As soon as it's back up, if you could go ahead and text me again, because I'm not monitoring off the air here, which means I don't know. Everything here looks good, but I just don't even know. So please let me know when we're back up. We are on Facebook and Legacy 1160, and I think our stream is probably up, although I'm not sure. It's funny here. The computers are not connected, but when we lose one, we lose the internet on the other, and the Facebook computer and the YouTube computer stayed going, and I think we're good. And again, this just is distracting. I understand that. I apologize for it, but there's really nothing we can do about it. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, we're good on Facebook, so that's fantastic. And I've got to check. I can check the stream. I'm going to have to probably take a break here to find out whether or not the transmitter is on, because we're getting some texts saying those who are listening on the radio are not hearing us right now. So we'll take a quick break. And again, I'm sorry about this, but there's nothing. It's out of my control. Again, I think it may be the DNC doing it. I'm not sure, but I can't prove it, so we'll let it go. Hey, Mike, could you mention
That is a definite. I'm going to go over any other stuff.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think the AM may be down. So, all right, so we're back. Mike will take care of that, and I appreciate that. And we aren't going to take a break right now. We will just keep things going. So, let's visit the debate last night. As we started to do before we were rudely interrupted by technology. So people were distracted by the fly, but there is no fly to see, no fly to distract you on the radio. So let's go to this exchange. More of Mike Pence, just Mike Pence, talking about the inability of the left, namely Biden and Obama, and the rest of the left, to deny there is systemic racism. They will not deny there is systemic racism. America is not a racist country. There is racism. There is not, in my mind, in the minds of many, including many black, if all black people everywhere said there is systemic racism, and there weren't some big voices out there saying there is not systemic racism, I would be a little bit less apt to go out on a limb and say it's just something being pushed by the left in order to make blacks feel like they are being oppressed by the system, when in fact the Democrats are of course they have to say there is systemic racism because they want them to think that. So they will feel there is a reason that they are oppressed, and they will blame the conservative movement. They will blame Donald Trump and Mike Pence and the rest of the people on the right. Are we good? We're good. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Mike. So here is Mike Pence at last night's debate. Let's give this a listen.
This presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that America is systemically racist, and that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And I want everyone to know, who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day, that President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered Senator
She did.
Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American
Thank you,
neighbors
Vice
and all of our minorities.
So who's the racist, Kamala? Who walked out on Senator Tim Scott, a black senator from South Carolina, who happens to be conservative? Why? Well, we don't want to give Trump a victory. But it hurts the black community. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We can't give Trump any chance at looking good under any circumstances. That's the disingenuous, hypocritical Kamala Harris at her finest. The only reason this bill wasn't moved forward is just for that reason. They didn't want Donald Trump to be able to point to something good that he has done. Senator Scott knew what needed to be done, and he worked hard to make it happen. But Fancy Nancy and her hypocritical band of idiots, including Kamala, put the brakes on. Disgraceful. This is how they operate. They have so many people who are so up their butts, excuse me for being so blunt, that they will believe anything. Somebody as clearly phony as Kamala Harris is, they will believe anything that she and Fancy Nancy and everybody on the left says, because they have been told, you need to think like this. You cannot divert from what we tell you. That's why the left was so eager and is so eager to follow along with all of these Governor Mills and Sarah Gideon edicts we have in the states and in this state, and the edicts that Democrat regimes across the country have in their states. This is why the edicts are so easy. And I was talking with somebody about this yesterday. This is why these edicts, these tyrannical measures are so easy to put through. Because everybody is told to believe. The lemmings, the followers, the sheep are told, you believe this. We're telling you right now there is systemic racism. We're telling you right now that we're shutting down the economy for your own good. And they are just as willing to, okay, the government will take care of us. Okay, Governor Mills knows what she's doing. We've got to follow what she says. But people are going out of business. People are overdosing. People are committing suicide. Families are breaking up. Children are being abused. Alcoholism is going through the roof. Oh, but Governor Mills told us we got to stay locked down. Somebody, I think it might have been Alexander. It was on Facebook. They just posted it, saying that, these latest edicts by Governor Mills, first of all, bars are still almost a month from opening, November 2nd. And singers, performers, last I knew, weren't going to be able to perform. Why not put plexiglass in front of performers who want to go out and sing? They get a plexiglass shield to put up. I'm not sure if there's going to be any allowance. How about these performers who want to perform, who can't? Because COVID. Nobody is going to go to a bar who doesn't want to go to a bar, who doesn't know the risks, who doesn't understand that there is a slight, tiny, eensy-beensy chance that they could catch COVID-19 from somebody who is performing if that somebody happens to have COVID-19 and spits on them. Everybody's so willing to follow orders, and that is the problem. Back to the debate. I had to get that out of my system. What about the Green New Deal? That came up last night. You know the Green New Deal, AOC, the Green New Deal, the infrastructure crushing, fossil fuel eliminating game changer that would make America into a third world country? Yeah, that Green New Deal. Joe Biden, much to AOC's dismay, claimed he doesn't support it at the debate last week, even though it's been on their website, and I believe is still on their website. I don't know, you want to learn more, just go to Antifa.com. It'll take you right to the Joe Biden website. I'm not lying about that. Last I checked, Antifa.com went to Joe Biden's website. Mike Pence held Harris' feet to the fire on this. Pence used the Green New Deal to drive a wedge between the far-left progressives in the Democratic Party and the establishment figures. And there are a lot of good Democrats out there, a lot of moderate Democrats who by proxy are lumped in with this bunch of renegade tyrant terrorists who want to destroy us, who want to dismantle us, in the words of Ilhan Omar. Harris, who was a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. Yes, I said Kamala Harris, who was a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, would not correctly say if it was a plank of the presidential platform on the Democrat side. This is long. I will tell you that right up front. But this is something, especially if you missed the debate last night, you need to hear. This runs almost 10 minutes, but it's Pence, it's Kamala Harris. Listen.
Which is climate change. And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question
moderator
to you. This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the South. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the West. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. Our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families in their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation, and we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center. And even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists
President Pence, I'm
use
sorry, your time
hurricanes
is up.
and wildfires to try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of a
Pence.
Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
workers first.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework. What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone.
That, by the way, is a lie. Joe Biden said he would ban fracking. He said he would. I've got the audio.
Which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one, he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us to retrofit 4 million American business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump is going to put America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank you, Vice
you know, on
President
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to it as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it.
Really?
What ended up happening
Really?
is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about.
No, they
You
don't.
know. I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Really?
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I
15
want to move on to
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, trade war with China, Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden's been a cheerleader for communist China over the last several decades.
Amen.
And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back.
He did.
In our first 3 years after we cut Texas
you, Vice
rollback
President.
regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President.
jobs created.
Will you shut up and let him talk? Let people finish a thought. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you. Time's up. Shut up. It's a debate, as Kamala Harris famously said about her lies during the debate. The lies she told. She doesn't own what she said because it was a debate. It was a debate. That's what she said about lying during the presidential debates. But it was a debate. That was her answer. So how are we to believe her during this? How are we supposed to believe her during this debate? Because during the presidential debates, during the primary process, when she was called out for telling mistruths, for lying, she said, it's a debate. Meaning, in debates, you're supposed to lie. You're supposed to fabricate. You're supposed to fight about things. This was Kamala Harris then and Kamala Harris now. Remember? Do you remember? Of course you remember. If you've been listening, if you heard the audio of her refusing to say anything, but it was a debate. When called out on telling lies, that's how she justified it. And that's how she will justify this. It's a debate. We don't have to tell the truth. It's a debate. So how are you to believe her? Of course, there are people who will believe her. They think she is a goddess among women. By the way, she doubled down on the fact that Joe Biden is not against fracking. You heard it, right? Joe Biden is not against fracking. Remember the presidential debates?
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those, any fossil fuel.
Oh, okay, all right. Why did he say that during the debate just months ago? No, there would be none of that. What do you mean? What the hell is she talking about? She lied right there. We've got the audio to prove it. She lied. She lies. Don't believe the woman. She lies. I don't mean that for all women. I mean that for Kamala Harris. You look at her, I can look at somebody. I can look at somebody speaking, and I can tell they are being disingenuous. I can tell they are being phony, and she was as phony as they come. Joe Biden said right there, you heard it, let's hear it again.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No.
No.
We would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies
No
for
more.
either one of those. Any fossil fuel.
We will make sure it's eliminated. Now, this isn't like going back 20 years. This is going back a few months. And she denies it ever happened. Why? Because she wants to be the president. And she knows saying we're going to ban fracking doesn't resonate well. Doesn't resonate well with Americans who don't want to be a third world country, who want to be free, who want to be able to drive our cars and mow our lawns and ride our motorcycles, or in my case, a mini bike, and not have to have an electric motor that runs down every 5 minutes. And I have to find a place to charge it. Going down the road on your Harley. Impressive, huh? Forget the potato, brum, brum. It'll be not going to be any more tough guys riding motorcycles, or tough girls for that matter, in leather. You get all your leather on, your tattoos. Oh, yeah, baby. This is what they want to do. She said Joe Biden was not against fracking. Joe Biden said he was. She wants to be president. She doesn't believe the woman anymore. She doesn't want to hear from Tara Reid, who accused Joe Biden of rape. She doesn't want to say that Joe Biden is going to ban fracking. She lies. She lies. She does whatever she needs to do to get where she wants to be. Anything. I'll leave it at that for now. We'll be back. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
911, what's your emergency?
I think we're going to need a fire truck over here.
Is something burning, sir?
Yeah, it's Susan Collins. She and her allies have told so many lies about Sarah Gideon, some of us think their pants might combust. You know, liar, liar.
Pants on fire. Yes, good thing you called. Can you see any flames?
Well, right now it's just a whole lot of smoke Susan Collins is using to cover up her record on taxes. She was the key vote to pass Donald Trump's tax plan, you know?
I do remember that.
Yep, Collins gave billions in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on Maine families.
Any idea why she did that?
Yeah, maybe because the corporate PACs gave her $6 million?
Okay, stand by. I'm contacting dispatch.
They better hurry. Susan Collins' lies are out of control.
Susan Collins. She's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now is the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style. Add to your
This is Facebook only. Isn't she something? Joe Biden doesn't want to ban fracking, she says. Oh, God love her. I think I've got another cut of Joe Biden saying he wanted to ban fracking. Do we have it? Yeah, I think I've got it. I want you to hear this one too. Coming right up, 30 seconds away. I'll get you back to your Moody's jingle.
Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to O'Reilly's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with areas of fog this morning, then developing sun that will be brightest and warmest away from the coast. Low 70s at the coast, mid 70s to near 80 degrees further inland. Rain moves in tonight into tomorrow. It will also be windy, clearing during the afternoon. Highs in the low 70s, mostly sunny, less humid for Thursday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Good morning. Welcome back. Thank you for the messages, the texts. Sure do appreciate that. Mikkel texting in. You get your radio back there, too. I'm glad. Because we never know. We cannot recall Tyrant Mills. That's got to be added to the Maine Constitution. There is no recall process in Maine. I don't know if it would work anyway. I mean, we know how many sheep we have in this state. You know, we still would have to go through the democratic process. And there are so many sheep in southern and coastal Maine. You hear it every morning with Swing Hard, Turn Left with Ethan Strimling, a bleeding heart liberal, former mayor of Portland. So, and and this is a good example of what urban areas do. Because we've got so much urban area and so much coastal area where people from the more liberal parts of the country, a.k.a. Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, come to vacation and buy second or third homes because we have such a liberal electorate in those parts of the state, and their populations, those population center, certainly trump what we have in the northern, more rural, more conservative part of the state. I doubt we would even get a recall vote to go through unless the people in southern Maine and coastal Maine are so fed up with the idiotic lockdown, shutdowns, and you can't go to church. You can't have you can only have so many people at church. You can't have people singing at your place. If you're a bar, you can't open. We'll let you open on November 2nd, but then we'll play it by ear. And oh, by the way, at the end of the month, count on it, we're going to extend the state of emergency for another month because that's what Governor Mills does every month. Why doesn't she just say now, we're going to extend the state of emergency to 2022? When Paul LePage becomes governor. Why doesn't she just say that? Because every month, it like clockwork, she'll announce, well, we're extending it for another month. And she's going to do it this month. It'll go into November, and then December, and then 2021, and on and on and on. It just will not end. So maybe people are fed up enough with this that they would, if we had a process to recall a governor, maybe they would vote to recall her. I don't know. We don't know because apparently it's not a thing here in Maine. I did not know that. Let's see. Illegal regulations on live music in church meetings. Yeah, absolutely. They're illegal regulations. It's against our freedom. It's against the free. But the riots and the protests are okay. Really? Why is a riot or a protest okay? And it doesn't matter the number of people, by the way. Doesn't matter the number of people in a riot or protest. They're all okay. Police stand down. Nobody says anything. You get arrested, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will get you bailed out if you're a rioter. They'll get you bailed out so you can go back out and riot some more, burn down more stuff, ruin new people's things, destroy police stations. Set up occupied zones in big cities. Yeah, Harris and Biden, they were part of doing that. And George Soros, you bet your butt. That's okay. But you don't want to go to church. We don't want religion. We don't want singing in clubs. We don't want bars to open. And when they do open, by the way, don't you be talking to anybody you don't know. That's part of it. They don't want people talking and mingling with strangers in bars. Hello! Hey, Mills, have you ever been to a bar? That's what people freaking go to a bar for. I get a little animated. Okay, just checking the texts. Back to the debate. Oh yeah, we've got more. We've got more to cover. You're going to love this because this, if nothing else shows you what a hypocritical person Kamala Harris is, this will. AOC was pissed when Kamala Harris wouldn't support the Green New Deal. She was pissed when Joe Biden said he wasn't for the Green New Deal. She was not a happy camper. The lipstick-laden Barbie doll from the Bronx who knows so much that all of the leftists in Congress follow her like a shepherd. She is leading them off a cliff, and they know it, and they follow her anyway. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, on and on. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. They know what she's all about, and they are sucking right up to her because she has the power of youth and the brains of a 6-year-old. Then there was the question about pre-existing conditions. I love this. Pence spun this into pro-life and the Supreme Court issue masterfully. Again, this is a little long, not as long as the last one, but listen.
President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Bingo! Now, you've refused to answer the question.
Bingo!
Joe Biden has refused to answer the question.
Right.
So I think the American people would really like to know.
They would.
If Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President, I'm
Answer the
speaking.
question.
I'm speaking.
Oh,
In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people.
Thank you,
And the
Senator
American
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people
No,
deserve
you're
a straight
not.
answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to
I
tell you,
think
people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
Oh, boy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question.
She didn't answer the
But
question.
maybe
you.
the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
Thank you.
But I think
Thank
the
you.
American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice
I
President.
think the American people do know the answer. By the way, I'm sorry. Abraham Lincoln was not a slave owner. However, he was a racist. He was a racist. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation, abolished slavery. We abolished slavery under Abraham Lincoln, but he was a racist. And they were so quick to point that out. Yet, when it suits their needs, Honest Abe. Look what Honest Abe did. Because it fit their narrative. You either love somebody or you hate somebody. You can't do both. They want to move the Lincoln Memorial. They want to take down the Lincoln Memorial from where it sits in D.C. and either move it or do away with it or something. They've talked about this. Same with the Washington Monument. This is all part of this removing of statues thing. But now, when it fits, when there's a reason, Honest Abe, Honest Abe. If he was such a racist, why is a woman of color now praising him? Because it fits her need at the moment. And that's the way they operate. They operate on whatever works for them in the moment. Or because it's a debate. It's a debate. That's how she justifies lying during these things. 10:58, we've got to take a break. Back after the news.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
In 2013, we opened the Portland Hunt and Alpine Club.
We're a small bar and restaurant. We have a dozen employees.
When the pandemic forced us to close, we went from being open 7 days a week to literally one day making nothing and dealing with months of having zero revenue for our business at all. We needed a PPP small business loan to keep our employees and just to keep our business.
We feel the responsibility of a dozen employees' livelihoods, their food, their shelter, their families. But Susan Collins wrote a loophole to let corporate chains take the small business loan. And Mitch McConnell included it in the law.
Big corporate chains scarfed up the money before most small businesses like ours had a chance. We feel totally abandoned by her.
They were supposed to be looking out for us.
Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell were just looking out for their big corporate donors and not Mainers.
Change Now is responsible for the content of this ad, paid for by Change Now. Make changenow.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff day after day? Now that we can finally get out and do a little shopping, why not head over to Townline Antiques? At Townline Antiques, there's 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and a lot more. Get away from it all with a look to the past. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
How do you think things in Washington are going these days? No, it's not a trick question. What do you really think? As Washington has failed, Speaker of the House Sarah Gideon has helped bring Democrats and Republicans together to protect Maine people. When Washington threatened to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Sarah Gideon successfully fought to make sure 230,000 Mainers with pre-existing conditions would not lose their coverage. When Washington failed to control skyrocketing prescription drug costs, in Maine, Sarah Gideon cracked down on companies who jacked up prices. And when Washington passed trillion-dollar tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on middle-class families, Sarah Gideon wrote the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in years, working together to get things done for Mainers. That's what Sarah Gideon's always done, and that's what she'll do in the Senate.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. President Trump has backed out to the next presidential debate. Minutes after it was announced the debate would be virtual, President Trump said he didn't want to do it.
Here's what people are saying about last night's
presidential
debate.
Campaign manager Bill Stepien, himself under quarantine because he tested positive for COVID-19,
Kamala
says
and
in a
Pence were
statement there's no
good, but
need
the
for
clear
the debate
winner was the
commission to change the
plexiglass.
format.
I thought the
The president
moderator
and Joe
was in
Biden
total
appearing from
control.
separate
Didn't be
remote
yourself like
locations.
Chris
Stepien
Wallace.
says
Too
the town
much
hall
social
debate could have taken place
distancing.
safely.
They were so far
He
apart,
adds, quote,
Pence was
President Trump
literally
will
on
have hosted
another
multiple
TV
negative
channel.
tests prior to
That
the
woman
debate.
did a bad
It's not clear how
Kamala
Stepien can
impression.
guarantee that
Maya
at this
Rudolph
point,
is
1 week
way
from the
better.
president announcing he tested positive for COVID-19.
I came for crotch kicking and
Travis
hair
ABC
pulling.
News,
Not
Washington.
talk
At the vice
about
presidential debate last night, Kamala Harris and Vice President
And that's
Mike
what
Pence
people are
sparred on the
saying
issue of
about the vice
pandemic.
presidential debate.
Pence
Vice
and the
presidential
administration
debate? Have you
spared no
seen
expense
Trump
to
and
help
Biden
Americans
lately?
through it.
That was the
Harris called
presidential
it the
debate.
greatest failure of any presidential administration in history. This is ABC News. New concerns about the rising tide of coronavirus in Great Britain and how it's being handled.
Heavy criticism is being leveled at the British Prime Minister for his failing test and trace COVID system. In Parliament, opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer.
12 billion pounds.
When you're walking home alone at night,
And yet a basic Excel error.
Hey girl,
brings it
why don't you
down.
smile?
don't reach for the pepper spray. Instead,
So why, at this crucial moment,
Ugh,
did it take
what is
so
that?
long?
reach for the
Touch this
Baby
error
Shark emergency
address it?
whistle.
Turn it off!
Nothing will drive creeps away like the sound of that awful song.
Here, take my money.
As it gives them
Close
PTSD
encounter
of that
between
one
a
time
surfer
they
and a
had to
great white
babysit their
shark captured
nephew.
by a drone off the Australian coast. The shark came within
Just leave
inches
me
of pro surfer Matt Wilkinson, who says he'd never realized it was there. The drone did. It's part of a shark
Well,
warning
hello,
system. When
Pally.
the shark was
Hello. I
spotted,
got to
a
tell you,
recorded warning went
2020
off.
has been such a
Wilkinson
horrible
paddled
year,
for shore,
but I found an
fast.
amazing coping
Jim Ryan,
mechanism
ABC News.
that's
Let's
kept me
be real.
totally grounded
Mopping
and
is
serene.
a hassle.
It's called
You have to fill the bucket.
transcendental meditation.
Pushing a wet, heavy mop
Oh,
around.
golly, did I say
Then
transcendental
cleaning the mop
meditation?
when you're done
I
so
meant
it
to
doesn't
say
grow
Scotch.
bacteria. A hassle
My
on
mistake.
top of a hassle.
Sorry about that.
Try Swiffer Wet Jet.
With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Okay, what is first?
Introducing Canada Dry Bold Ginger. It's not your grandma's ginger ale. I know because I'm not your grandma. I don't pressure you to get married. I say play the field all you want. I drink new Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that would blow the bingo cards out your grandma's bag. I drink it while watching backyard wrestling. There's more on the line when the wrestlers don't have insurance. New Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
He's been in Central Maine radio for more than 40 years and knows the landscape pretty well. He probably knows you, but that doesn't mean you have to have him over for dinner. John James on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Well, welcome back. How are you? You having a good day? You're just joining us. If you are, nice to have you here. Mail-in voting. Before we get back to the debate, I was reading a story about a New Jersey mailman who was arrested for dumping 99 general election ballots in the garbage. Not making it up. 90. So this is one instance. There have been several instances of ballots finding their way to the trash, not being counted, ballot harvesting gone wrong. I'm talking about Houston, Texas. I'm talking about Minnesota for Ilhan Omar. Mail-in. This is just, these are anecdotal evidence of fraud going on. A New Jersey mailman dumped 99 general election ballots in the garbage. Now, to show you how slow the Postal Service is, all 99 votes were for Al Gore. I kid you not. No, I don't know. It would make sense, though, wouldn't it? 11:07 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And where we left off here? Oh, yeah, the Supreme Court. Pro-life and the Supreme Court. And by the way, to answer the question about pre-existing conditions, Trump said he will protect pre-existing conditions. And based on his record, he'll do what he says. Democrats, including Obama, have a tendency to, what's the word? Lie. That's it, lie. Remember, if you want to keep your doctor, you can. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Remember that? Stacking the court, on the other hand, is a serious issue that the Democrats, they want to use to get and maintain power and control, just like they try to do with everything from gun control to wanting to do away with the Electoral College to opening the borders. And by the way, on the pre-existing conditions, I believe it was last month, like in the last week of the last month, September 20-something, that Donald Trump signed an executive order saying that any health care reform that crossed his desk, he would not, executive order. This is an executive order he signed. It would have to include verbiage for pre-existing conditions. It's an executive order. See if I can find it really quick here. And all right, this is khn.org. I have no idea. It's a news outlet. It's a TV station, apparently. Protecting people with pre-existing medical conditions is an issue that followed President Donald Trump for his entire first term. So September 24th, rather, he signed an executive order just a few weeks ago. With the executive order, Trump said, "This is affirmed, signed, and done so we can put it to rest. Why didn't Pence bring that up? He should have brought that up. And what he said that it locks an executive order that he says locks in coverage regardless of anyone's health history. Any health care reform legislation that comes to my desk from Congress must protect the pre-existing conditions or I won't sign it. I believe Donald Trump because he has a record of keeping promises. So there you go. There's the pre-existing conditions. Donald Trump has a record of keeping promises. He signed an executive order promising pre-existing conditions would be in any legislation that he signed. What's your record, Kamala? What is the great record you're running on? You don't have one, do you? No. And you can lie because it's a debate. Can we find that audio of her saying, I want you, in case you haven't heard it, it was a debate. I don't know if let's see how my search skills are here. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I think we've got it here. We've probably got to, are we all set? Okay. We've got to wait a few seconds. I have everything. When I think of something on the spur of the moment, sometimes we have to wait. Okay, here it is.
Well, from an outsider,
this is
who doesn't really know both of you very well.
Colbert.
Your relationship, which seems like a good one now, really does bring home the old phrase, politics makes for strange, let's say, partnerships. Because in those debates, you landed haymakers on Joe Biden. I mean, his teeth were like chiclets all over the stage. And now I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. How does that transition happen? How do you go from being such a passionate opponent on such bedrock principles for you? And now you guys seem to be pals.
It was a debate.
Not everybody landed punches like you did, though.
It was a debate.
So you don't mean it.
It was a debate. The whole reason, literally, it was a debate. It was called a debate.
I understand.
Traveled to the debate. There were journalists there covering the debate, where there would be a debate of differences of opinion and issues. Okay. I am 1,000% supportive of Joe Biden.
And I'm 1,000% not supportive of Tara Reid, the one who accused him of rape, because even though I know it's Me Too and believe the woman, I get a chance to be president now. It was a debate. Of course I could lie. Of course I could paint Joe Biden as evil because it was a debate. Somebody asked me, whose voice is more grating, Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton? Wow, oh. That's $10,000. I guess that's potato in my mind. What about that, Stephen Colbert? Of course, he loves the left. He hates Trump. So he was laughing right along with her. Oh, but you landed some good ones. It was a debate. It's not quite Hillary's cackle, but it's pretty darn close. Do you not agree?
The phrase, politics makes for strange, let's say, partnerships.
Oh, that's nice.
Because in those debates on Joe Biden, I mean, his teeth were like chiclets all over the stage. And now I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. How does that transition happen? How do you go from being such a passionate opponent?
Boy, that's Stephen Colbert. He's a good-looking dude, isn't he?
And now you guys seem to be pals.
It was a debate.
Not everybody landed.
Oh, my word. So there it is. If you missed it, if you didn't hear it, there it was. She lied about Joe Biden. She said she disliked everything he did. She excoriated him on that debate stage, but it was all lies because it was a debate. If she believed all the things about Joe Biden that she was saying, she should have taken the high road and said, no, I really don't want to be your vice president because the things I said during the debate are the things I really believe, but they have no sense of shame. All she wants is power, and she will lie in more ways than one to get there. Sorry. I can't miss an opportunity when it comes my way. I've got reason for saying that, and we'll get to that. We will. I'm telling you right now. So let's get to more of the debate. And at a debate, you should be talking about what's going on, COVID-19, which wasn't really talked about all that much last night. However, when it comes to the vaccine, which Kamala is against right now because Donald Trump is the leader, is she going to take a vaccine? Will she encourage others to have a vaccine if one comes out before the end of the year? So is she being an anti-vaxxer for political reasons? Potentially killing more people? You decide. Mike Pence sure thinks so. Listen to this exchange at the debate last night.
Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you. Although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue.
But I would like to go back because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in 2009,
and they didn't
when Joe
know.
Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives.
They got lucky.
His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck. That they did, quote, everything possible wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty.
Oh, yeah.
They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think the American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry,
of what we have done. And Senator, please stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
I'm sorry, Susan, the moderator is just annoying as hell. Let him finish his sentence and then stop him. Let him finish. So what if he goes over a couple seconds? Big deal. Somebody's going to talk more than somebody else. It wasn't very much, though. Despite what mainstream media is going to tell you, it wasn't very much difference. It was actually insignificant. We'll get to that a little later. So there you go. That's what I've got for debate clips. And at a debate, you're supposed to debate back and forth. But neither the moderator nor Kamala Harris wanted that. Apparently, debate. What is a debate? Sharing back and forth. But she didn't want back and forth. It was you shut up, now you talk. And she never hushed Kamala Harris. I don't know if Kamala Harris never went over her time or if she was just sympathetic to the left, which she is the writer of Madam Speaker, the book about Nancy Pelosi. So she probably is a little bit more leftist leaning, you would think, as will the next presidential debate moderator be, who was part of the Biden's inner circle at one time. You can't make this stuff up. I swear you can't. So listen to this. Kamala Harris kept shushing Mike Pence, shushing him, basically. And boy, there were a lot of tweets about this afterwards, both good and bad. Listen.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
Yep.
He said because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add,
but
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
Yep.
Let's talk about PAC in the court then. Let's talk about the PAC. Yeah, I'm about to. $400,000
He said he's
a
going
year.
to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
be important if you said the truth.
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation. Okay?
Please.
Okay.
All right. So basically telling Pence, shut the frig up. Let me talk. Actually, Joe Biden did tell Donald Trump to shut up, and he called him a clown. Very presidential. The mainstream media said he was very good, very presidential in that debate. Oh, you got to love the media. You got to love our media. So here are a couple of tweets regarding her. I'm speaking over and over again. They ranged the gamut from when Kamala said, I'm speaking. One of the tweets said, I felt it. You felt it. Your mom felt it. Your grandma felt it. Every woman on this earth, alive or dead, felt it. Felt for the woman. Megyn Kelly, this one's from Megyn Kelly. The I'm speaking thing worked at first. Now it's getting old. And how about China? Oh, she used China. Whoa. She used China. That Donald Trump lost the war against China. And Pence said, well, Joe Biden never even fought the war. True. This was posted last night on Twitter, and it was at several other news outlets, too. I happened to see the Twitter post. China censored Pence's comments on China. And there's a picture of the screen with the color bars on it. No signal, please stand by, and there's Chinese writing. And the signal returned when Harris began talking. Who do the communist Chinese like? Well, it's pretty clear. Communist China wants to rule the world, and the Democrats want to let them. They want to enable them. They will take the tariffs away. They will send our jobs back. They will make sure medicine doesn't come to be made on our shores like President Trump wants it to be. So how did the media react to all this? Let's take a listen. Chris Wallace. Here's how Chris Wallace summed up Kamala Harris's performance.
I think going into tonight, the Biden campaign had one concern, and it wasn't whether or not Kamala Harris was going to be sufficiently likable. It was whether or not people would be able at the end of the night to envision her being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Would she, in terms of her knowledge, her command of the facts, her policy, would she seem presidential? And I don't think she did anything tonight at all to disqualify herself in that sense. So if they came into the night leading, I think that they left the night, the Biden campaign did, with a lead.
All right, well, all right. So there's Chris Wallace's response. That's what he thinks. Let's see what happens to the polls, if anything. So who did well and who didn't depends on who you ask, I guess. Nora O'Donnell on CBS said this.
But Mike Pence was masterful. You may not agree with anything this administration does, but in terms of his debating style, he repeatedly did not answer the question that was posed to him about the record of the Trump administration on a number of issues. He pivoted and used the time to deliver a direct attack against Joe Biden's long record in Washington. And I was stunned because I thought that Kamala Harris, the former prosecutor and skilled debater, from many of the primaries, would be able to make sure that it was the Trump record that was on defense. And many times it seemed like Kamala was on defense.
Yeah. How about that? Nora O'Donnell. None of the talking heads in media like Trump or conservatives, but even O'Donnell couldn't find a lot wrong with Pence's style and execution. And who expected to be able to? We know Pence. We know Mike Pence. We know him as a very cool, calm, collected, polite gentleman of high moral character. And he didn't disappoint. So it's not like that was unexpected. Nobody expected it to be anything like the Trump-Biden. I expected the Trump-Biden debate to be a lot like it was. I didn't think that Donald Trump was going to be as assertive as he was, but I expected it to be along those lines, and I expected this debate to be along the lines that they fell. Jake Tapper on CNN was actually critical of Harris' refusal to address her and Biden's stance on packing the Supreme Court. Jake Tapper, believe it or not.
Harris wouldn't answer the question about the court packing, and that's significant, and Biden and Harris should answer it.
Interesting. Now, her refusal to answer is actually an answer. If Amy Coney Barrett is placed on the Supreme Court, they will pack the Supreme Court the next opportunity they get. They will. It's a simple but controversial answer. And she wouldn't give it. Here's what ABC News contributor Sarah Fagan had to say about Pence's performance.
He was very strong on the economy. He really had Kamala Harris on the defense, specifically on the Green New Deal and the impact that would have on jobs and taxes. So I thought he did a great job. I think he did what he needed to do.
Yeah. So far, so good, right? She called it right. She called it honestly. He did a good job. Nobody can deny that, right or left. Almost nobody. Missouri Democrat Claire McCaskill was on MSNBC, and she was asked about what she thought of the debate by Rachel Maddow.
Well, let me start with Pence. He was patronizing, which drove all the women crazy, he was boring, which lost most of the men. So I don't think he gained any ground, and boy, did he need to. Kamala, on the other hand, she was strong, she was in command, and she had a hint of joy. There is something about Kamala that connects with people because you sense that there is joyfulness in her spirit.
Some call it joyfulness, others call it phoniness, a fakeness, not unlike Hillary Clinton. To show you how phony she is, check out this story from The Blaze. The campaign for President Donald Trump has left a ticket available for long-deceased artist Tupac Shakur to attend Wednesday night's debate between Vice President Mike Pence and Democrat Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris. In a swipe to Harris, who recently named Shakur as the best rapper alive. Harris was asked during a CNN interview last month who she believes is the best rapper. Remember, she says she loves rap music. She's done this before. She's so phony. She is so fake. She was asked, who is the best rapper alive in your opinion? And she said, Tupac, because she wanted to be all hip and stuff, right? Well, The Hill reported that after the moderator reminded her that the famed rapper was no longer among the living, Harris responded with what else? A laugh. Not alive. I know. I keep doing that. And she was unable to name an alternative favorite among the living, showing how hip she is. How about Joe Biden's favorite? How about Cardi B? How about singing a little WAP for us, huh? Are you familiar with WAP? Well, you're in for a treat. That's the only rapper Joe Biden can name is Cardi B. He's a big fan of her. He loves her music. I bet he's getting it on with WAP. Sorry. I was going to go down a road there that would have given you horrible, and it's almost lunchtime, so I'm not going to do that. Don't worry. Oh, my word. You just can't make this stuff up. So you know what a lying, disingenuous person, what a phony, fake person, a la Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris is. And she does it all to get ahead. Does it? Trust me. Nothing's off the table with her. Again, if you really want to know, if you have this desire to know more about Kamala Harris, especially now where she's the vice presidential nominee, and Joe Biden where he is the presidential nominee, now would be a good time for you to download or buy the book, Profiles in Corruption by Peter Schweizer. Now, the other ones may be passé. I mean, there's chapters about Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg. It's interesting because you never know when these people are going to be back. You might enjoy the whole book. Bernie Sanders, he's going to be part of the administration. If Biden's elected, he'll be part of the administration. He'll be part of, ramping up the Green New Deal and all that stuff with AOC and Beto O'Rourke. I don't even know if Beto O'Rourke was one of the characters covered in the book, but Biden and Harris were. So I'd encourage you to at least read those chapters if you are inclined to learn more about them. So we've got Rachel Maddow next. She assessed it this way. First, talking about the distracting fly on Pence's head and some weird thing with his eye, which, frankly, I didn't even notice that. Maybe he had some weird thing with his eye. I don't know. I was watching on my phone. I really didn't pay attention when I was watching on the big screen this morning. But here's what whoops. Whoa. There we go. Don't overmodulate. Here's what Rachel Maddow had to say on MSNBC.
Other than that, it was like a visit to normal politics land, which is fine and to be expected when it comes to Senator Harris, who has been a mainstream Democratic politician essentially her whole life, even though she's had an interesting sort of rise to the place that she's in right now in the party.
Interesting rise to the place she's in right now in the party. I laughed when I heard that. Very interesting choice of words. All I am going to say is Google this. If you aren't familiar with it, Google Kamala Harris and Willie Brown, or read the book. Anyway, we will let Rachel continue.
But Mike Pence was visiting from another world in which the Donald Trump presidency is a normal Republican presidency, and he was defending it on normal Republican terms, which sort of, I think, would have made for potentially a consequential debate if Pence was describing a presidency that existed. Maybe that's the way it exists in his own mind, but it's not the presidency that we've all lived through. And so he was defending something that's nothing like what we've lived through.
Yeah.
And trying to talk Senator Harris into the idea that she's the one who would represent a significant departure from the norms of American civility and moderation that he and Donald Trump represent.
Okay, so riddle me this. Where has so-called civility and moderation gotten us? How far has it gotten us? Not too far, right? Bad deals with other countries that tend to benefit them more than us? Open borders that allow criminals to come in and take advantage of our benefits while they kill our citizens and take up housing our homeless vets might be able to use? A constant fight to keep unconstitutional gun control from being implemented? The killing of babies up till birth? If that's what civility and moderation have gotten us, and I think it has, bring uncivil, shake things up politics all day long. Trump 2020. That's what I'm talking about. NBC never lets people down when it comes to their take on things, damning the Trump-Pence administration and building up Biden and Harris. Now, this sound starts out with America's lamest faux journalist, Chuck Todd, followed by Andrea Mitchell and others, all building up Harris while ignoring anything good Pence did. Listen, here's Chuck Todd.
I thought Kamala Harris got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I thought she really got her sea legs, got comfortable, and got strong. And look, Mike Pence did a lot of evading and deflection. He was dealt a tough hand, as we said at the beginning, with the virus and where things are. And look, I think there are some in the Trump campaign who are going to be pleased with how he deflected and how he evaded. But there are going to be some people who are frustrated about the constant amount of time that Mike Pence avoided answering a direct question.
Well, I think that Kamala Harris really did warm up and hit her points on white supremacy, on climate, certainly on COVID, pre-existing conditions. She managed to get through and speak directly to the camera and was a very effective debater. Mike Pence was effective in defending President Trump and dodging the questions, an artful dodge, if you will, because he didn't respond to the failures of the coronavirus task force that he leads, which have been very well documented by insiders, by the audio tapes from Bob Woodward.
Kamala Harris, with a smile, pushed back on Mike Pence's repeated talking over time and interrupting her. She was sort of very deft and careful to when she said, "Hey, you're interrupting me. It's my turn to speak." She was careful about it, and the style with which she did that seemed practiced, but also familiar to those of us who have covered her on Capitol Hill. It's one of the ways she's effective in this way.
The central question tonight was, does Kamala Harris, the candidate we haven't known, facing the biggest audience of her life, did she look and sound like a plausible president and vice president? The answer, at least from my point of view, she sure did. She passed that test.
Oh, yes. Yes, she passed that test. She looked very presidential. Didn't look phony at all. Well, it's hard for phonies to recognize phonies, right? So we'll give him a pass on that. Because all of these media talking heads are phonies. They're leftists. They are pushing for Biden. They are campaigning for Biden. And they are trying to do it in such a way that they think they're fooling everybody and making people believe that they are being objective and nonpartisan. And I'll tell you something right now. We are not like the leftist Kool-Aid drinkers over here. We see when somebody's being disingenuous. We see when somebody is lying. And we knew when Trump was elected, we knew that he was the only choice. We had him or we had Hillary Clinton. Nobody liked Hillary Clinton. Nobody in the Republican Party, many in the Democratic Party didn't like Hillary Clinton. And so Donald Trump was our president. And many of us reluctantly, I say that reluctantly, and I say that with full force of the word behind it, we reluctantly voted for Donald Trump. Because although we liked the fact that what he said he didn't filter, we did like that, but we didn't think he was going to keep any of his promises. And if he didn't keep any of his promises, did we want a blowhard narcissist egotist to be in office doing nothing but ranting and raving about how great he is for 4 years while doing nothing? That's what we were afraid of. We weren't drinking Kool-Aid. We merely had to make a choice, and we didn't want Hillary Clinton. While the leftists were drinking the Kool-Aid when they voted for Hillary. Oh my God, she's going to make America a great place to live because we're going to get rid of guns and we're going to get rid of fossil fuels. It's going to be great. So they went to the polls. They had no problem, no reluctance at all when it came to voting for the Hilderbeest. However, we did have reluctance, most of us, I dare say, voting for Donald Trump. But boy, were we surprised. Oh, he didn't tone down any. He didn't change his way of speaking and unfiltered truth. He still says things I wish he wouldn't say. And you do too. But boy, he kept his promises. And he'll keep more promises. Joe Biden won't. Joe Biden can't even stand on a debate stage and tell the truth. He was against fracking. You heard it. I had 2 cuts. And last night, Kamala Harris said he is not against fracking. He is not. Joe Biden is. She was very emphatic about that. He is not against fracking. I give you Joe Biden.
There's a place for the energy workers right here in Western Pennsylvania. I am not banning fracking.
Okay, he said that. He said that when he was in Pennsylvania after the primaries. He was in Pennsylvania after the primaries. Here's what he said during the primaries.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those, any fossil fuel.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you think this guy's going to keep his promises when he can't even make a statement on stage during the debates, during the primaries, and keep that same promise when he goes to Pennsylvania, where fracking is a pretty big deal? What do you think about that? And Kamala Harris doubling down. He is not against fracking. Well, you heard it right there. He said, I am against fracking, except when he went to Pennsylvania when he said, I am not against fracking. Why would anybody think that this is a good vote? Why would anybody, either one of them, Joe the liar or Kamala the liar? They're both liars. Joe says one thing, a day later says another thing. Kamala Harris justifies her lies by saying, well, it was a debate. These people are liars. They're dangerous. They're going to ruin America. They are going to destroy our democratic republic and with it, the Constitution. Actually, the Constitution will be the first to go. They've got to get that out of the way before they can completely destroy the country. because Obama wasn't able to do it in his 8 years, although he tried. 11:44. We got calls? No, I didn't look. Hello? 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 Oh, hi. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hold on a second. I know what I've got to do. There we go. How did you call before?
I did.
Okay, this Megan in New York.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Did you watch?
I saw the debate last night.
What,
oh boy.
What'd you think of it? What'd you think of the debate?
I think Pence won hands down. He did calmly. He did with a smile on his face. He drilled on hard questions. I mean, there are questions I wish he had asked, but the fracking, the Green New Deal, the jamming and packing the court, he hit those hard, and he let her slide on those.
Right.
And I know that she was in trouble because, I mean, the whole giggling, the smirking, the winks look.
Oh yeah, she's very transparent.
She was in trouble.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny how, the media is trying to portray Pence as sexist for debating her. What do you want him to do?
Well,
Not debate her? That's the whole point of the debate.
That's funny you say that. And you brought up a very good point there. When you said what did you say before you mentioned the sexism thing?
Oh, that she made these wink looks, like she was almost like it was painful for her.
Yeah.
When she wasn't smirking or smiling.
Right. Well, yeah, see, the thing is, you can tell from that Stephen Colbert piece I played a little while ago, you could tell from that was a good example of what she does when she's on the spot. She
yeah,
because she couldn't answer his question, even though she was in friendly territory there with Stephen Colbert, who hates Trump, loves Biden, loves Harris. He asked her a question she wasn't prepared for, and she just it was a debate.
Apparently there's a source that's come out that Kamala Harris had info ahead of time about the questions.
Oh, is that right? Well, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
And apparently also this moderator was biased too.
Well, she wrote Madam Speaker, the book about Nancy Pelosi just came out.
Yep.
So yeah. Now,
and Steve Scully is also biased too because he was interning for Biden during college.
Yes. Yeah. Right. No, you're right. Yeah, that's the next one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now listen to what Gayle King, CBS, Gayle King, an Obama and Oprah buddy. She works for CBS. She had nothing good to say about Pence. And she dismissed Pence's denying racism, saying that the flies, you saw the fly.
Yeah.
She said the fly's timing was interesting. Listen to this.
Many people are wondering why Mike Pence was even on the stage. If you listen to the CDC rules, you're not even supposed to be in contact with other people when you've been exposed to someone who has coronavirus, which we know the president does. Kept thinking, I wish there were thought bubbles so we could see what they were each thinking, because many times, more on Mike Pence's side, I have to say, where he didn't answer the question, he would pivot to something else. There was at one point where Kamala, when he was asked a question directly about social distancing, and at the White House, and at the White House Rose Garden, and you could see Kamala's face like, yeah, now what are you going to say? At one point when they were talking about systemic racism, I think it's very interesting timing that a fly would land on Mike Pence's head at that particular time when he said that there really wasn't systemic racism. I saw the fly basically go and say, what?
And she later in that little diatribe, she said it was a fly of color.
Oh my God, that's
Gayle King.
So ridiculous. That's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But if us, the right, see symbolism in something, it's conspiracy theory.
Oh yeah, I know there's symbolism in a fly. Somebody on.
There were drops last night during the debate from you know who, and he pointed out a good point. The number that you text, like for his campaign, Biden, 30330.
Yeah, did he get it right this time?
2020 and divide it by that number. you get a 0.0666.
Oh my
result.
word. Is that right?
And then you look at their campaign picture. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at it closely, it reflects and is similar to the shape of a pentagram.
I am telling you, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
he wanted hands down, though.
Yeah,
he
you-
wanted hands down,
Yeah.
and he did with a smile on his face, which I thought it was amazing.
No,
He
I thought-
was cool, collected, calm, and you saw how she got elevated, Harris. You know, every
yeah.
time she was really triggered by a question that she couldn't answer. You know, and the fact that he threw it back in her face. You know, you're entitled to your opinions, but not your facts.
Right. Yeah,
More
exactly. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I love it too. And the whole topic on, you know, that Trump wing, you know, do a peaceful transfer of power. And he brought up the fact that Hillary Clinton still has not gone over the fact that she lost in 2016.
This is correct. That sound I did not get. Yes, I saw that. Right. Pointing out that, well, there's not going to be a peaceful transfer of power. The president hasn't said there'll be a peaceful transfer. And he rightly pointed out that they are still fighting the 2016 election. There still has not been the transfer of power from Obama to Trump is still not peaceful and won't be.
There was a live stream today with Pelosi demanding that, you know, he released the last time he had a negative test result of the president for COVID, and that, you know, somehow he's lying or, you know, manipulating the American people by not doing so. The White House administration and staff are doing all the contact tracing. He don't have to release nothing to you. And the fact that, you know, this media keeps on saying that, you know, somehow he's dodging the questions, he's concealing the truth about his status, you know, he doesn't have to release every single detail.
No.
And neither does his doctors, because regardless of the fact that he's president, he's still an American citizen and he's entitled under HIPAA laws.
Yeah, HIPAA laws is right. We discussed that yesterday with our doctor. I've got a few tweets I want to read from some other media types before we have to go here. One is from Brian Stelter, Humpty Dumpty. You're familiar with him.
Yes.
Our team was following it very closely, and the VP, Mike Pence, interrupted Senator Kamala Harris twice as often. MSNBC host Mika Brzezinski complained that Pence overran his time and was not controlled by moderator Susan Page. He was over-controlled by Susan Page. She wouldn't shut up. And
Oh, yeah, that's the truth. And in fact, I set a timer. No joke, John. I set a timer for every time that they were told, you know, for a certain question or topic, how many minutes. And multiple times the moderator cut him off before his 2-minute mark. And multiple times she cut him off, you know, aggressively. But she was very easy on Harris and very lenient. Even though she interrupted Harris to cut her off at her time, she wasn't as forceful about it. And you know what? You know, Pence did interrupt Harris a few times here and there, but overall, Harris interrupted Pence more.
See, I didn't have
the by 30 seconds, if not almost a minute over.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole debate, so I probably
I watched
won't.
the whole debate. I watched it, and I've watched it very closely. And I watched it on Blaze TV because initially I had it on Fox News, but I couldn't stand the commentary, the side commentary on Fox News, because I've noticed they're getting more and more liberal. Like, I literally only watch Sean Hannity and Tucker and Ingram now on Fox News. I don't watch anybody else.
They are getting more.
Last night,
Fox,
you had Juan Williams from The Five, who's as liberal as heck.
Oh, Juan Williams.
Then you had Donna, who admitted to the 2016 campaigning and election that she actually leaked questions ahead of time to the Clinton campaign.
Right, yes.
Which he tries to begin with. Then you got Brent Hummer, or whatever his name is. He's liberal as heck. I mean, the only one that was maybe, you know, kind of in the middle was, what's that one white woman's name from The Five? I mean, the rest of them were all left, extreme left liberal.
Well,
and I mean, Chris Wallace has made very clear he favors, you know, Biden.
But overall, Fox News does. I mean, the people that you call liberal. I mean, Bill Hemmer is a good journalist. And this is the thing I don't get about people who, all you watch is Fox News. Well, yeah, Fox News has some great conservative shows. Fox and Friends is fairly conservative. Well, not fairly. They're very conservative. The nighttime shows.
The only one I'll watch in the morning now is Fox and Friends.
Yeah. No, you're right. I want to give you a breakdown here, Megan, of the speaking time. Now, people think that Pence got more speaking time, and he did. Here's the breakdown. This is CNN Fact Check. Speaking time for Mike Pence, 36 minutes, 27 seconds. Speaking time for Kamala Harris, 36 minutes, 24 seconds. 3 seconds more. He got 3 seconds more speaking time than Kamala Harris. And
well, let's see, how many times did she interrupt him?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I know.
I don't trust CNN fact checking because you know what? They're very biased.
They are biased.
I think they're the most left liberal winged mainstream media news outlet out there now.
Well, I disagree with you a little bit. I think MSNBC beats them because they've got NBC too. NBC is in their corner. NBC is as left. Even Lester Holt has gone full blown. Never Trumper.
CNN, you've got Fredo.
You got Fredo. Yeah.
I mean, they're so extreme left, and you know anything. Like I said, they say I don't buy it. I don't buy anything they say.
Yeah, but
I mean, when the president got home from the hospital, they made a big deal that he took off his mask.
Yeah,
saluted the Secret Service from the balcony. It's like they're more than 6 feet away. He's out in open air, not in enclosed space, with bad circulating air. Who's going to catch it?
That's what it looked like to me, too. Listen, I've got to run. We're out of time here, Megan.
All right.
But the only thing we disagree on is who is a more liberal news network. And I'm going to stick by MSNBC with Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, Al Sharpton, on and I could go on all day with these.
Oh, yeah, well, I agree with
Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd.
She's very, they're both very liberal, those two.
Absolutely. Ari Melber. No, I've got Ali Velci, Stephanie Rule, Nicole Wallace. Who's the other wild off the Katie Tur? I could go on all day. No, MSNBC wins this one. I'm sorry, but all due respect, I've got to let you go, Megan. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, MSNBC all day long, all day. But plus, they have more viewers between them and NBC. They control a whole big portion of the leftist corporate media giant. So there you go. It's 11:57. Got to go. Be back tomorrow at 9:00. Mike Violet here at 6. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. Pep Rally for Freedom back in 24 hours. I'm John James.
1160 WSKW.
Hi, it's Doug and Dan from Generators of Maine in Belgrade.
Are you working from home? Will your children be home doing schoolwork? And you know how important it is to have access to the reliable power source.
That's why you need a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Kohler generators deliver reliable power whenever yours goes out, and we're always happy to offer delivery and installation.
Get prepared today for those upcoming power outages with a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Stop by our location in Belgrade, visit online at generatorsofmaine.com, and like us on Facebook.
This is retired Major General Bill Libby. I know Susan Collins, and I trust her to protect our veterans and our military families. Susan's father served in World War II, earning 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star. He instilled in Susan a great respect for those who've served and sacrificed, and she delivers for us. Susan improved access to health care for rural veterans. When 2 administrations tried to cut funding for homeless veterans, Susan restored it, reducing veteran homelessness by 50%. And Susan put an end to the unfair widow's tax. These aren't campaign promises, they're delivered results. The VFW praised Susan for her, quote, unwavering support of veterans, service members, and their families. And Susan received the Distinguished Citizen Award from the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. This is retired Major General Bill Libby. Susan Collins is, and has always been, a champion for Maine veterans.
I'm Susan Collins, and I've approved this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.